We already
Okay,
did
go 2
this.
miles south.
Just some
There's
amendments
that
to it.
church
So
here.
rather than
City
you
plan.
rereading the whole thing, I would just make a motion to make amendments to the community block grant
And the neighbors were
resolution.
glad he bought it.
That way you don't have to reread it.
The, drug user.
And then the same thing. Sorry, Gary. Don't mind me. Can I see your lap?
No, yeah. Just for about a half hour.
NFA, this one here, it's the same thing. We don't need to reread the whole thing. There's just amendments to it. So just a motion to approve the amendments. That'll save us a lot of time. Talking.
I'm up for that.
We're all set.
Efficiency.
John, we're all set.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the June 4th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. Today, we're going to have the prayer by Commissioner Heberling, followed by the pledge by Commissioner Lee.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the beautiful weather. We thank you, Lord, for that we live in a free country. And Lord, we just pray today for our service women, our service men, as they protect our country. And Lord, we pray for the leaders of our country. And as Commissioner Sarkella has prayed many times, all good things and all blessings come from you. So, Lord, we just thank you for your blessings. We thank you for your guidance in our country and ask that you continue to guide our country and guide us in this meeting today as we make decisions on behalf of our county. We ask this in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block,
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard, District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberling,
Here.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella,
Here.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee. Here. District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart is absent. District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Here.
Thank you, Leslie. There are no additions, corrections, or deletions to today's agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Lee to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify
Call Jody just to make sure we're back.
First one was they couldn't get the Wi-Fi to work. And so we couldn't print out the heat sheets. And the guy says, I didn't meet here all year, no problem. I says, look at all those people.
All right.
All set? Thank you. Did you get the meeting minutes?
Yeah, so we're moving on to correspondence.
Correct. We received your correspondence from Jody through email the other day. That's going to move us into commissioner reports, and we will start with Commissioner Ballard.
Since the last meeting, the only one I've had is Evergreen. They approved 4 road agreements with the Seneca County Road Commission. And, excuse me, and 1 ditch agreement. That was basically it.
Good. Thanks, Roger. Gary?
I attended the Sandusky City Council meeting last night, and the city manager gave a report on the current road construction, and also let everyone know by June 15th, they will have the 4 corners blocked because they're gonna start working on M19 going south. And then they discussed the upcoming trash contract, and other than that, there wasn't anything real important to bring to our meeting today. Thank you. Tonight I have Watertown Township and Parks and Recreation, so if you see me speeding to Evergreen, you know. I mean, driving the speed limit.
Can we back up?
Yeah.
I totally forgot about Marlette last night. City of Marlette. They had quite a bit of discussion. They were considering opting into marijuana dispensaries and grows. The councilman that made that motion at the last meeting rescinded that and changed it to just grows, or just dispensaries, I'm sorry. Probably 2. And then they had some more discussion and he rescinded that motion. It's gotta go, they have to actually adopt an ordinance to opt in to marijuana. And so that's the stage they're at now. But they got a lot of kickback from the public about the possibility of the aroma, which I think is very legit. I know I wasn't real happy about it, and I'm directly north of the proposed grow. So they are not going to do the grow portion of that.
Gotcha.
So, and the pool liner is in, I don't know that it's installed, but they've had quite an issue with their pool. Hopefully by mid-month, they've got that full of water and running.
'Tis the season, right?
Yeah, today'd probably be a good day. So that's it.
All right. Thanks, Roger. Do you have anything further, Gary? Did you have anything further, Gary, in your report?
What, you talking to me? Sorry. I thought you were talking to him. What did you say?
Well, we kind of cut out of your report to let Roger finish. Just want to make sure you.
Yeah, no, I'm
No,
done.
it was
Yeah,
done.
yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking to
I
Roger.
wouldn't cut Gary off.
Bill?
Applegate last night, Nathan's been assisting them with the blight house that they've been battling for several years, and finally that's going to be coming to fruition. I don't know the timeline on getting it torn down, but they're looking forward to the day that happens. I think they're going to have some kind of celebration party when that's finally done. They're continuing with their hall rentals. They've got some new agreements set up with that, and they actually do pretty good with getting that hall rented there a few times a month throughout the year. Their fire trucks all in pass that inspection. They've been doing some new training with some of their firefighters, and they're continuing their recycling program with Terra. And then one of the council members there, Glenn Old's granddaughter, has been battling cancer, and the news last night was not good. But the board was all wearing their Support Claire t-shirts last night, so it's nice to see that, you know, folks are at least reaching out and offering their support in that regards. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Christine?
I have nothing to report.
Okay. I'm going to Marion Township tonight myself, and the other day Nathan and I were on an MREC call with Delaware, Minden, Marion Township, related to the litigation with the wind turbines. And as we bring up all the time, we're very hopeful that we're getting very close to a settlement agreement on that. And we'll keep you guys posted, but hopefully within the next month or so, that should be finished up. That's all I have. John?
I had speaker since I was missed last meeting, these would have been done at the last meeting, but speaker, fire department's gonna have an open house on June 22nd. They actually at that time didn't have the exact time that they were gonna do it yet, but if I hear that, I'll let everybody know. Some blight issues, they issued a couple tickets with further zoning. They set some new hall rental fees and worked on some ballot language for renewal of a full mill for the August 6th election. Melvin hired a firm to work on a master plan. They're gonna pay for that through their ARPA funds. They have $17,600 in ARPA funds left, and this is gonna cost anywhere between $6,000 and $10,000 to do. They got notified by MDOT that they want them to do a traffic count by their railroad crossing, which they just got notified and they're still working through that because they're not quite sure why they have to pay for this count or pay for the equipment to do the count or whatever. So they're working through that. They're gonna be doing some work on their playground equipment also. Worth Township, Gary Eisen, who's running for the Michigan House of Representative District 64, which just Worth Township in Sanilac County is in that district. It's mostly St. Clair County. All the rest of it actually is St. Clair County. He showed up just to give a little brief analysis of himself. Short-term rentals, they have 29 renewals and 2 new applications. Let's see here, Croswell EMS, they signed a contract with Croswell EMS for $72,000. They're looking to redesign their office, and they're starting to put limestone down on the roads. That's about it.
All right, thank you, John.
So the representative, he's running because Beeler is not running.
Beeler's not running,
correct.
Appreciate everyone's commissioner reports. Nathan, your administrator report, please.
Yes, thank you. I was just jotting down some notes based on your guys' conversations. Very good. As you guys are aware, I was at County Administrators Conference last week. There was some very good presentations. A lot of good information was shared. For your guys' knowledge, there was a section on jail management and counties being aware of the risks with those facilities. Talked about making sure there's strong communication between the administration department of the county and the jail staff, the jail administrator. I think we have good communication here. For your guys' knowledge as well, it should be noted, the gentleman doing the presentation was from MMRMA, who does our risk liability insurance, and he noted how well our facility is run here. So kudos to those who have put things in place to run our facility well, and kudos to our current jail administrator, Ryan McConaughey, for that work. So part of that presentation also talked about police and corrections fields and just the struggle that has been seen in finding people to fill voids as people leave roles. They said that there has been a 20%, almost a 20% reduction in the police force since 2001 in Michigan. And they noted that we have the lowest ratio of police officers to residents in the entire Midwest here in Michigan. So yeah, it's a tough time throughout the nation, but here in the Midwest and in Michigan particularly. There was some additional discussion amongst the counties too about just in general the struggles in retaining a workforce in government, even outside of sheriff's department. That turnover is higher than ever. Employees entering the workforce, I think to some degree, there's a different mindset than it used to be about settling into a career. And they said for government to compete with the private sector is becoming increasingly difficult this day and age. So there was some discussions about things that you can attempt to do and ways to try to combat it. But I think government is aware that there's just some things that we can't do that the private sector has an ability to do. And it takes the right person that wants to get into government work, I think. So it was noted today on the MAC. I don't know if you guys all get the MAC emails, but they do a podcast, and they did say there is a House bill 5203 that would allow the counties to rehire retirees. They talked about it for sheriff's offices, but they said counties in general, that it would allow any county retiree to come back and work for the county without their benefits, the retiree benefits being affected. And they say that that initiative is being pushed because, again, of what I just spoke of, so.
I think something similar to that happened in the school system as far as
Yeah.
allowing teachers to come back immediately, where there used to be a 9-month separation window.
Now it's immediate.
Yeah, and I think it's had some success in combating the struggles in education. I think it's still tough, but I think they've offset some of the blow that they had seen. Another thing, I know when I was gone last week, Aaron Carlson and Josh Robinson came in to talk about the monument project. She said she reached out to me and is looking at June 14th. Being the first day potentially where she would look to hand out those plaques to the families of the veterans that purchased those. So she's looking at that from 10 to 5, being here, and they said if they would get notice out through the newspaper or something, but allowing people to come up here and get those. There's a bathroom floor remodel taking place in the health department that started this morning. First floor of the health department, the public restroom is being remodeled, so staff are aware and trying to work through it with, they're trying to get as much of the noise. The crew is trying to do a lot of the demo work and getting that flooring out between 6 and 9 in the morning, so that then when staff come in, they can kind of be done with the banging and all the noise, so.
I was down there this morning on some park business. They said it was quite loud.
Yeah, I bet they'll get through it. Right. And here in the audience is Megan Ross today. She'll be presenting in place of Mary Freeman on the PACE program. So I wanted you guys all to be aware as well. And that's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Nathan? Nathan, I appreciate your report and attending that conference and bringing back the good news that Sanilac County is doing it right when it comes to managing our jail. At this time, I'll call for public comments pertaining to the agenda. Are there any public comments pertaining to the agenda today? Seeing none, we're going to move on to a presentation from Megan Ross from the Property Assessed Clean Energy. Megan, welcome.
Okay. Thank you for having me, everyone. I'm Megan Ross. Mary Freeman can't be here today. She had a death in the family, so she is dealing with that. So I'm happy to fill in for her. So I'm from Meeting, Michigan. We administer the PACE program for Sanilac County and for the majority of the state. PACE was established by the Michigan Property Assessed Clean Energy Act in 2010. And Leading Green Michigan is a public-private partnership. We launched in 2012. We currently serve 59 counties, cities, and townships in Michigan, and that comprises over 75% of Michiganders. So the problem is that energy efficiency, water efficiency, and renewable energy projects can be expensive, and traditional financing tools require large upfront capital investment for a slow long-term payback, which provides little incentives for business owners to undertake these types of projects. The solution is that PACE financing allows property owners to voluntarily enter into a special assessment agreement, which can be repaid over the period of up to 25 years. The benefits is that local governments get a free economic development tool. Property owners get 100% upfront financing with a fixed interest rate, and PACE lenders get the security of a property lien created by the special assessment. So some additional benefits is that the loan is 100% upfront financing. It's up to 25% of a loan to value ratio. There's fixed interest rates. I mentioned before, but it's a long-term type of loan, usually up to 25 years. And the loan runs with the land. So if the property owner were to sell their property, the loan would stay attached to the land. It's not a personal guarantee on the property owner. It's directly attached to the land. So qualified properties include commercial and industrial types like hotels, hospitals, restaurants, office buildings, senior livings. Multi-housing, it has to be 4 or more units, and we cover both market rate and low income apartment buildings. PACE can also cover agricultural sites like farms and wineries, and nonprofits like houses of worships, private schools, co-ops, and more. qualified upgrades. So basically anything that will save you on your utility bill. So energy efficiency, lighting will qualify, HVAC, a new HVAC will qualify, windows, insulation, roofing. And then water efficiency, if it saves on your utility bill, it will qualify. So we've seen stormwater recapture, low flow toilet sinks and shower heads, gray water systems, green roofs, impermeable pavement. And then in addition to energy efficiency, we also cover renewable energy, so solar roofs, wind energy. And then recently, we added environmental hazards to be covered by PACE. So this includes like the mitigation of lead and PFAS contamination, and also protection against severe weather, including flood and drought. So these amendments, we have new amendments that were made in February 2024. They're Senate Bills 302 and 303. So Senate Bill 302 gives property owners will now have the option to waive the SIR and savings guarantee for projects. And for new construction PACE projects, they're now required to build above Michigan's energy code, but they'll no longer require a savings to investment ratio or a savings guarantee. And then, like I said before, we also expanded PACE to allow for the financing of environmental hazards. In April, we got HUD approval. So now, in the past, if there was a HUD project, we weren't able to get into the capital stack, but now we are. So that was exciting. And to date, we have financed 80 projects with a total of $289 million in private investment. And that is all.
Megan,
Do you have any questions?
were any of those projects within Santa Ana County?
Not yet. We have not had a project in Santa Ana County yet, but we would love to have a project here. If you want us to come out and present at like economic development meetings, we'd be happy to do so, or where you think it would be useful.
Okay, well, you had mentioned that agriculture
Yeah,
qualifies. That's something that,
As long as it's privately owned, it qualifies.
Okay.
And, you know, the saving energy.
okay,
Mhm.
that's good information to have.
And then also, there is no government funding in PACE. It's private financing to private property owners.
Okay, and so the assessment follows the property, correct? And so how would a buyer be notified that there is that assessment on a piece of property when they were looking to purchase a piece of property?
At the time, it's on, I believe the current property owner is required to tell whoever's buying the property that there is that attached to the property.
Okay,
Yeah. And it's not, sometimes the seller and the property owner work it out at the time of sale where the current property owner will just pay off the loan so that it's not transferred, but it's up to the property owners to decide.
gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Megan?
No.
We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, now we're gonna have a presentation from MSU Extension. We have Jenna Fowler and Jared, I'm not gonna try to say it. Jaborik? Okay,
The beef man.
if you guys want to come up and do your presentation, welcome, we're happy to have you.
First slide.
I'll try not to take up too much time so Jenna gets time to talk. So I'm Jared DeBoer. I am MSU Extension's Beef Feedlot Systems Educator. I have statewide responsibilities, but housed here right in Santa Ana County because, as many of you are probably aware, we have tremendous amount of cattle on feed comparatively to the rest of the state. Just some numbers to give you a heads up. In Huron County, they're actually our leading county for cattle on feed or cattle on feed that are sold, anywhere from close to 40 to almost 50% based on the last census. So a lot of cattle just in that one county alone, and that kind of trickles down into Santa Ana County too. They're right around 21% in both of those. So you can see that we have a lot of cattle here in the thumb that are on feed. So that's my primary audience that I try to target. In terms of activities that I do, one of that has been an annual program for me is the MSU Feedlot Educational Series. This is a program I've been now since COVID's been over. In Kingston at Biagio's, I've been hosting meetings there. I make them virtual too, so if people from other parts of the state want to attend, they can. But I bring in speakers, usually industry stakeholders. Sometimes I'll present myself. And talk on various topics to keep our producers educated, informed of what's going on. Based on feedback that they're telling me or I'm hearing, oh, we could use some information on this. I'd like to learn about this. So usually that's one program per month over the winter months, January, February, March, April. Of course, April attendance gets a little bit low once the weather starts getting nice and our farmers can start getting out in the fields and start planting. So that's a big one. Another big one, we did a traveling feedlot health and management program. We had a specific ask from some producers on the west side, but we made it a traveling program. We held one at Biagio's to get our thumb feeders involved, and then one on the west side in Ithaca, and then one in the south in Sturgis. Really well received here and the west. Not nearly as many people coming up from the southern location, but part of that is just I think our reach. We don't have a beef specialist down in that area right now to make those connections. Some other stuff that's been going on. We did a implant boot camp. I partnered with the Zoetis rep, and we had it's a hands-on training. Basically, had a presentation and lunch, and then we actually got to work cattle. We brought in producers and talking about implanting cattle. It's a technology that we have that can improve production and efficiency for their operations. The return on their investment is like nearly 30-1. So really good product that they can use. So we educated them about that. We had a location in Huron County in Bad Axe, and then one in Peck here in Sanilac County. Great attendance. Trying to remember numbers. Actually, maybe I have those even written down. But it was somewhere from 20 to 30, I'd say. So that's pretty good representation for when you consider the number of cattle each of those individuals feed. So, and then this year, I've joined our E-Rail team with MSU Extension. So that's an emergency response for accidents involving livestock. That's been going on since 2017. I think they developed that, but I've been taking a part of that, and that's a training for our first responders that show up to accident scenes that maybe we had a trailer roll over something. And as you guys know, big agricultural hub here. We have a lot of trucks on the road, and then we have the bridge going to Canada. So a lot of animals coming from there to go to slaughter. So a lot of animals on the roadway. So we actually did a training locally here in the Thumb in Imlay City, so that we could get more of our first responders from the Thumb region, get them educated. It was very well received. I think we had over 60 to 70 participants involved with that training. That was March 18th. We're also working with Imlay City's emergency management group to bring a trailer to the Thumb. They would house it is what we're thinking. They're working right now some of the details on mutual aid, talking with neighboring counties to facilitate that, but they would house that there, and then as calls come in, it can get deployed there for whatever the needs may be. So that's kind of what we've been working on a little bit. Just to give you guys some other numbers, in terms of direct contacts, dealing with just one-on-one with producers, whether it's a phone call, whether it's an email, whether it's on-farm visits, tallying those out, it looks like over the course of last year is almost 800 for me. This year, I haven't put in some of the last few months, but it was already close to 250. So lots of people still reaching out, busier than ever. I think, I mean, I'm on year 4, I think, now that I've been here. So more and more people continue to reach out. So it's always great to see. I continue to develop articles and stuff like that we can put online. Anyone can go and read it. I pulled a few reports last year, articles that I've written based on Google Analytics was almost 50,000, 47,000 views. That's about 129 reads by people per day. So that's pretty good. Right now, that average is about the same for this year. So that gets picked up. Those articles get picked up by popular press that people read. So like your Feedlot Magazine, Beef Magazine, Michigan Farm News. I write for the Cattleman's Magazine. So we're getting that content out to our beef producers across the state as well. So with that, I'll try to.
We're gonna keep mine shorter, quicker and dirty. So I'm Jenna Thaler. I am the field crops educator, covering Huron, Tuscola, and Sanilac primarily. So if you knew Martin Nagelkirk, I'm the new Martin Nagelkirk, except for I am housed out of Huron, but I do cover this area as well. Anybody here in farming? No?
My brother is.
Okay, so
I
some of
just help.
some of these things may be of interest to you. If not, I apologize. But like Jared said, we're still getting a lot of calls and very relevant with different things we have going on. Just last week, I had a wheat field day that was up in Huron, but we had about 25 participants and about half of them came from Sanilac County. We had a crop and pest update meeting during the middle of the winter in January down at Peck at the Career Center. We had about 70 participants. About 3/4 of them were from Sanilac County. We had a local RUP testing event at the same location. We had about 24 participants. And most of them were Sanilac. We had 1 or 2 who were from Sanilac County. We also currently have 9 soybean plots out across the county. That's where I'm headed to next. Already came from our insect trap line that we have traps across the county. And then we also have a soybean variety trial field day come September, October-ish. Last year, we had 8, 9 participants. We just launched that. It's a new venture to see if people want it back. It used to exist a while ago. And then we also have a dry bean variety day toward the end of July, beginning of August as well that we're involved in. So lots of things we have going on for interactions within farmers within the community, crop farmers, whatnot. But that's my quick and dirty. If you have any questions, I'll answer them.
Does anybody have any questions for our guests?
What are you getting in your traps, your insect traps?
So right now we're trapping for true armyworm and black cutworm. Black cutworm, we hit our peak a couple weeks ago now. And actually there's been some fields in the Croswell area that they've had to replant sugar beets because of how high the pressure was this year. And then true armyworm affects wheat a lot. We trapped higher numbers than normal this year, but we've yet to see any larvae that's affecting the crop yet. So, and then we'll switch to western bean cutworm later in the season.
Jared, do you see an increase do you think there's been an increase in the feedlots in Sanilac County?
In the number of
Yeah,
feedlots?
or is it staying about the same?
I don't think there's been a big increase. I know I have talked with a few people, or one farm in particular, I'm thinking of Peck, where they transitioned from dairy to feeding some of the beef crosses. So
Okay.
they're feeding cattle now. We do have a few of those that take place.
All right.
Jared, you touched on implant, and I'm real familiar with that. But is that a new technology? Is there a new technology in implants? Is that what you're trying to say? Or
Nope, it's been around since
Yeah,
1950s, and some of the new stuff that we wanted to cover with our producers is some of the FDA regulations
Oh, okay.
changed
All right.
last summer. So some of the labeling changes, so we're just trying to make sure that everyone is familiar with that as they're trying to plan what they're gonna do, what they're gonna use for their cattle.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you guys for your time.
Yep, thank you for being here. Okay, that will conclude presentations. See no need for 13A, 13B, or 14, so we're gonna move directly to general resolutions. This resolution was previously passed by the Board of Commissioners. However, there are some amendments that had to be made.
Community Development Block Grant Housing Improved Local Liability Program Resolution. I'll make a resolution that we approve all the amendments and changes.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Sarkella, support by Commissioner Ballard to readopt this resolution with the amendments. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, being as it is a resolution, I'll have Leslie do a roll call vote, please.
All right. Commissioner Sarkella,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Block,
Yes,
and Commissioner Heberly.
Yes.
resolution is adopted. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
That's going to move us into committee reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Moody. Okay, we had our County Planning Commission meeting 2 weeks ago. We approved some PA 116 applications. Not a whole lot extra going on there. one thing everybody should be aware of is we have the new state siting law, Public Act 233 related to wind, solar and battery installations. There was a group that attempted to repeal that law with a ballot initiative. That ballot initiative had a timeline on it. They did not meet the timeline to put that on the 2024 ballot. So we now know with 100% certainty, come November of this year, we are going to be dealing with Public Act 233. Nobody's really sure exactly how that's going to work quite yet, but the planning commission will stay on top of it. And if we get any good information, we'll share it with everybody, because I'm sure the townships are going to be asking questions about this too as the year drags on. And I would also suspect that townships and us here at the county, we're probably going to start seeing developers wanting to start having conversations about what their plans are and how we're going to move through that process. So.
John, one thing I found out yesterday, talking to our state representative, that initiative did fail because of the timeline. But the same application, same names on there, they're going to move that forward to redo this again in 2026. And they can, those are still valid names on that initiative.
Yeah, so if they do continue to collect the signatures and they gain enough, I'm not the expert on the timeline, but I'm thinking they probably have a couple more months now.
I believe it was mid-July.
Yeah, so we basically, a month and a half or so that they have yet to collect those signatures, which would put it on the ballot for 26. But like I said, I mean, we now know no matter what, come November this year, we're going to be dealing with the state control or whatever that looks like. And so I know Nathan, you and I were discussing, Mac actually had something in an update today. And it sounds like Dr. Sarah Mills, who we've worked with in the past on these issues, has got something coming out soon.
Yeah, sounds like there's gonna be some additional guidance that she's gonna get out because there's so much with, I mean, there's a majority of counties don't do zoning, it's the townships. So there's a lot of townships who are looking for information and guidance, and unfortunately, there's only so many attorneys throughout the state to guide people on it, so.
Right, and we have the Michigan Public Service Commission's own staff have admitted that they have no idea how this works because they don't understand zoning. So I mean, it's gonna be a head-on collision here at some point. But it is something to be aware of because there's a high likelihood that Sanilac County and its jurisdictions within it, the townships very likely can be some of the first that have to deal with this issue. So nobody wants to be the first one to go through it, but very likely could be us. That is all that I have.
I
Christine?
have nothing to report.
Okay,
No report.
all right, Gary?
We have a Parks and Recreation meeting tonight, and I think we talked about in our last meeting. We're building the ground. We're still working through the details of our animal shelter.
Roger?
I had a CMH meeting, Community Mental Health, last Tuesday, basically approving all the reports that were presented to us. They did choose a employee of the year. I'm sorry, I don't have her last name. It's Olivia. She's worked there for 10 years. They have a pretty good program. They have staff of the month, and then that ends up with a staff of the year. So it's a neat program they do. Like Gary said, we have a park meeting tonight. I got some great news yesterday. I received from Eagle the permit that we've been waiting for. So all I had to do was sign it and send it out to all the required recipients of that. So I'm hoping for a pre-construction meeting on the 12th. It'll either be then or the next week. I'm hoping the 12th, so we can get moving on that project. Forester House, that project is started. It's gonna look great. It's a vinyl siding that simulates logs, and it's really gonna change the appearance of the center portion of that park. The parks were all full, 100%. Evergreen, I think, was about 120% full. Based on the cars up there Saturday night, we took a drive up.
They were all at Leslie's site.
Yeah.
My car wasn't. I might have stopped in for a few minutes. But it was good to see the parks full, and the beach area, the pond, there had to be 100 people out there frolicking around, playing volleyball, and next year will be better once we get this project done. Just a little side note, my wife and I went to Trevi's Pizza in Marlette last week one night after the holiday, and Ken McCoy, the owner, he always comes out and talk a little bit. He came running out and he said, "Roger, I got to tell you, I had people coming through here from down in the city, heading to Evergreen Park. And just talking about how great that park is, and they couldn't wait to get there. So apparently they couldn't wait to get set up because they ordered pizza on the way through and stopped and picked it up. But he's excited as we are for the parks and for the county. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I like to hear that out in the public. So that's why
People are that happy with it. Just wait till there's a kayak lunch and a putt-putt golf course and,
yeah,
and more pavilions, more space.
right. Yep.
It's very good. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you.
Appreciate everyone's committee reports. I see no need for unfinished business, so we're going to move directly into new business. We're going to start out with FA 083-24, approval of 2024 current claims.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2024 identified on the accounts payable report dated May 28, 2024 for the general bank account in the amount of $211,517.93.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 084-24, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments and establishes the following accounts as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 085-24, authorization of continued stipend, Sheriff's Office.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the continuation of the stipend of $15,000 for the Sanilac County Sheriff for the purpose of management responsibilities and process of the federal bed rental program contract. In addition, there will be a catch-up payment from January 1, 2024 to June 4th, 2024. Then the stipend will be paid on a payroll biweekly cycle. Further, the stipend is subject to annual review by the Personnel Committee. And if the sheriff steps away from his position or the contract should end, the payment shall cease.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Heberlein. Is there discussion?
Yes, if I could just make a notation here. This isn't something new. And back when I came on almost 8 years ago as commissioner, we were doing this for the former sheriff. And every year we would go through that, and sometimes it got a little heated over that. So at that time, I'm going to say it was probably 5 years ago, we decided at that time as the personnel committee that we would review that each year, depending on if the bed rentals were still going into effect and what that payment should be. And when Sheriff Rich come on, somehow it got dropped, if we forgot or what, so we reinitiated it, 3 years ago? And so every year, the Personnel Committee goes through that, reassesses the importance of that and the pay scale for that. So I just wanted to add that this isn't something brand new.
Right. Yep, agreed. Is there any further discussion related to FA 085-24? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 086-24, approval of the 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program Subrecipient Agreement.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the District Health Department number 2, 2021 Homeland Security Grant Program Subrecipient Agreement and further authorizes the board chairman sign the agreement.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, supported by Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 087-24, approval of summer job program worksite agreement.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the summer job program worksite agreement between the County of Sanilac and GST Michigan Works and further authorizes the board chairman sign the necessary agreement.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, supported by Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 088-24, authorization to increase court-appointed attorney fees.
Sanilac County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes an increase to the Juvenile Division Court appointed neglect/abuse and delinquent attorney fees effective May 1st, 2024.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella. Is there support? Support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 089-24, award and authorization of bid for gun range pavilion project. And if you will notice in your packet, there is an updated number for that.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes Hessling Construction LLC of Harbor Beach to bid for the purpose of building a pavilion at the Moore Road Gun Range at a cost not to exceed $24,850 with funding from Smart Communications.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support by Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 090-24, award and authorization of bid for 171 Dawson Street improvements.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes James Dean Construction the bid for the purpose of the 171 Dawson Street Building Improvement Project at a cost of $358,884 with a 15% contingency of $53,832.60 for a total cost not to exceed $412,716.60 with funding from ARPA funds.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Heberlin. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 014-24, authorization of health, dental, and vision recommendation.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes offering effective July 1st, 2024, 3 self-funded co-affinity plans through Meriton Health for active employees and non-Medicare eligible retirees as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion?
Yeah, question to Nathan. Nathan, I believe 4 years ago when they built the building and we approved this. Is this something different than back then?
Yes, this is a little bit unrelated to, are you talking about the dental clinic?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is unrelated. This is more, I guess, involved with the employee healthcare plans within the county, the insurance.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, all right, sorry. Yep.
Any further discussion related to NFA 014-24? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 015-24, adoption of 2024 taxable value report.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the 2024 taxable value report of $1,993,000,000. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get this number right. This is a big number. Sorry. $1,993,047.
You were
right the first time.
Too many commas in there, Bill.
Worth $1 billion with a B.
Okay, I'm glad to know that. Start again, $1,993,047,325 for Santa Clara County as presented and further authorizes the board chairman sign the necessary documents and the equalization director to implement.
Support.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarcella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to NFA 016-24, authorization of county approval agency.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes assuming the role as county approval agency CAA for Santa Clara County as it pertains to the materials management plan.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarcella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Lastly, we have NFA 017-24, adoption of the Santa Clara County Citizens Participation Plan for Community Development Block Grant. These are simply some amendments to that was adopted about a month ago.
Santa Clara County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts Santa Clara County Citizen Participation Plan for the Community Development Block Grant amendments as presented.
I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarcella. Is there support? Support from Commissioner Heberlin. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. That will conclude new business. At this time, I'll call for general public comments. Are there any general public comments? Kim, welcome.
Last one. Johnson. Yep. This is just basically an FYI. You know the history of the Dominion machines that we use for voting? It was founded in 2003. It's a company that wasn't around and wasn't really used until 2010. And it was started in Canada, not an American company. In 2010, there were other companies out there that did the same thing as Dominion, but they all merged with Dominion. You had EVS, you had ESS, you had Smartmatic and Art Interactive. And they merged at that time. Some of them were forced to merge. They sold that part of their software for pennies on the dollar. But they sold it to Dominion. But Dominion didn't assume their liabilities for anything that they had racked up. It didn't go with it. It stayed with the original companies. And they got no money for merging. It was a forced merge by the DOJ due to antitrust laws. They said it was a way to restore competition. Yet ESNS was not allowed to compete after they had to merge. Dominion software is developed in Belgrade, Serbia. And if you click across any text you can't read because it's in a foreign language, chances are you're going to track it right back to Serbia. And it was probably left there by accident because software happens. It gets left by accident. But no, the handout I gave you gives you more information on it. And it's just like I said, FYI, that's all.
Okay. Any further public comments today? Seeing none. See no need for closed session, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn our BOC meeting at 1:51.
I make that motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Lee, support from Commissioner Ballard to adjourn at 1:51. All in favor, signal by saying aye.
Aye.